Oh my goodness.
¿Cómo estás, chupapillas? Episode Who Gives a Fornication of this dumbass podcast that we do. Listen, this is the COVID kid, Drake Kulik, checking in from the Corona cave in my house. I'm on lockdown. My mom's in town on one of her only vacations of the year. I value my time with my mother very much. And here I am locked away in my room because I got this dumbass, fake ass virus, tested positive. Like I said last episode, pretty much figured it. You guys caught me in a mood today. I don't know how long it's been since you guys have caught me in one of these moods. Kluver knows what typically happens with my mouth when I get into one of these moods. And so maybe the folks are in for a pretty entertaining half hour, however long we give them. So, Kluver, I got nothing else, man. What up?
A treat. A treat is what we said in the text message before. You guys are probably in for one, as you can hear. When Drake is in a bad spot, most of the time it puts the podcast in a good spot. And that's just how it works. Something happens in Drake's life, which means we get to hear about it, and he gets to be in a mood, in a state of being that creates incredible quotes and content and reactions, and hopefully that's what we get from you today. Welcome in to episode 176, I believe, of the podcast, and this is going to act as the 2020 finale. This is it.
There's no better mood for me to come into this episode with after the dumbass year we went through than the mood I'm in right now.
I agree. This is going to come out tomorrow. We're recording this Wednesday, the 30th. This comes out tomorrow, the 31st, literally the last day of the year. Friday, we turn the page, and I have some thoughts on that as well. But this is the last episode of 2020, Wash Up Walkons 176, the year-end finale. We've got multiple things to talk about. First off, I'm going to do something that I haven't ever done on this podcast, formally, done it informally. And I'm going to promote what I do for real that actually makes gives me the ability to eat at night. A lot of people at the turn of the year, the first rolls around, the new year, you find that new year resolution, right? You're a fat shit. You haven't worked out all year. You feel like shit. You're getting headaches. Your energy's low. You're eating like shit. I mean, everything's gone to shit. You just went through the holidays. It is a brutal time period.
The holidays disrespect your body, dude.
The holidays are the most disrespectful social construct of a time of year. You go from Thanksgiving to Christmas to the new year, where for the majority of people, you're either eating like shit, you're drinking a bunch, you're very inactive, or
it's not called bulking season for no reason.
Yeah, it's fluffy season, man.
It is.
And that's probably you in some sense. You're sitting here listening to this, you're thinking, damn, I just don't feel good. Like I need to make a change, right? And I, of course, am promoting myself for this, but I truly care. This year of COVID has taken a toll like no other. It forced me out of a job. No, that's not true. I straight up got fired. Drake's eating sour cream and onion lays as we speak. Okay. Which are delicious. Those, I mean, if you take a sour cream and onion lay and you pair it up with a cheddar and sour cream, it's hard to decide which chip is better, and you could down both bags in a matter of 15 minutes.
Do yourself a favor and put either or on your sandwich, your cold cut, and it really elevates your cold cut.
It's a complete, yeah. So it's the new year, and you deserve, after this year that we've had, to feel better, right? But you guys have jobs. You guys have families, you got shit to worry about. And it's tough, especially if you don't have a background in exercise or nutrition. It's tough. Shit, Drake, it's tough for us. We came from Coach Doyle, nutrition, strength conditioning. It's not easy regardless.
Dude, I had to break a habit of eating 90 pints of ice cream in 100 days.
Drake was eating ice cream every night.
A pint.
Drake's sponsored by the milkshake department at Five Guys. That's Drake's
and Ben and Jerry's.
And Ben and Jerry's. So it's not like the D1 athletes are just out here killing it either. It's a struggle for everybody. And the reason is because you guys don't have the time to come up with a plan, write it down, figure it out, set goals. And guess what? That's where I come in. All right. If you are at all considering, I swear, if you just have a simple goal or a question, a health and fitness question, how do I do this? How do I do that? Send me an email or a DM. Most of you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, DM me, or if you want to email me, be a little bit more formal, tyler-kluver@live.com. Let's start a conversation. All right. It very possibly, I only have limited spots too. I can't take everybody on as a client. I'm already working with double-digit clients, and there's, a guy can only do so much programming and nutrition wise.
So you're saying you're a little bit exclusive. You're saying this knowledge is a little bit exclusive.
I would say that I know more than your average, what Coach Doyle would call your college Joe, right?
So is the demand greater than the supply? Have you found the formula?
We're working there. Okay. Obviously the goal is for everybody that listens to this podcast to be like, damn, I need to get my shit together. What can Tyler do for me? Right now, we're kind of riding that fence. I'm in the middle of, depending on how many people hit me up and are serious about it, because it's not cheap. You have to here's the thing. You have to make an investment in yourself, because let's be honest, most of you, if you don't financially commit to something, you're not going to do it. That's just how people work. Like if you spend money, you're going to commit to it. Right. And so send me an email, send me a DM. Let's talk about what your goals are. Let's see if I'm the right fit for you. You're the right fit for me. And let's get healthy as shit in 2021. All right. Or, you could be listening to this podcast while you work out, or you could listen to it while you be a fat shit and you eat sour cream and onion chips on your couch. It doesn't matter to me, but I'm here to help. Okay. So that's my self-promotion. Now, to more important.
And listen, when I get into jiu-jitsu competitions, I'm still a little young buck in jiu-jitsu, but when I get in jiu-jitsu competitions, I'm probably going to employ the knowledge and the keen eye of Tyler Kluver on my diet so that I can drop down to a lean $185, which is going to be pretty tough. But Kluver and I had that conversation the other day that I'm even going to have to figure out how to follow a diet. So I'll be with you guys. I'll be struggling with you guys.
And my last selling point is this, is that a lot of diets out there, a lot of fitness people, it's a lot to take in at once. All right. And if you work with me, we're going to go slow. We're going to use stuff that is sustainable for your life, not just for a 3-month transformation. We're going to implement stuff that is sustainable. And I want to help you get healthy and fit. And that's what we're here to do. On to some other stuff. Patreon members, the Walk-On Army. In the new year of 2021, you are going to see a few new things. That is, if you are in the 3rd tier. All right. We've already seen a couple new things come about. I do reaction podcasts to the games. Obviously, that's going to go on hold for football until they start having games again. But many of you are already experiencing the ad-free listening experience, the early access to our episodes, the immediate access to the video version of our episodes on YouTube. What else we got going on there? Any exclusive merch? We came out with our first Walk-On Army design this year, and then the 1 or 2 or multiple that we come out with next year, Drake's just dropping chips on himself. I mean, he's peak fatness. If we come out with a t-shirt, you get access to
Listen, man, we need to do another Army t-shirt, but it needs to just be kind of like, one of those truck, I call it a trucker tee, but it just has that one chest logo,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's just the t-shirt,
Mm-hmm.
and it has the guns with I like that logo a lot. I think that would be a cool Patreon t-shirt.
We'll figure out something. We're going to figure out probably at least 2 products this year that are Walk-On Army exclusive, which means that the limited number of patrons, you guys are the only ones that will have access to when those go live. You're going to be the only ones that can buy those. They are exclusive, and they mean that you're a true Army member, right? Not only that, but you're also contributing, like we talked about last episode, to the Children's Hospital. You are getting every 2 months, you get a episode that is only for the Patreon subscribers. And if we ever figure out a way to do some live events, you guys are going to be the ones that are the only ones who have access to that. Now, if you are a 3rd tier subscriber in the new year, you're also going to get, and Drake doesn't even know about this, I'm adding these 2 benefits to the top tier. You are going to get what I am calling and planning on to be the Roster Series podcast. And what's going to go down with that is that's going to be a weekly extra episode that lasts anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes that I do myself. Drake or Kevin, if for some reason Drake may be in on a few because, he's got time. Kevin will most likely never be on one of these. It's where I'm going to break down the roster, 120 guys or whatever, into however many weeks of the off season there are. So it probably works out to about 3 or 4 guys a podcast. And I'm going to go from number 1 to number 99 on the roster. And I'm going to do a little background information, who I see them as. I'm going to watch their high school film, their high school highlights. If they've played already on the team and have stats, I'm going to break down. I'm going to give a quick little description. Here's what I think of this guy. Here's who I compare him to with who we played against and played with. And here's what I think he could be for the Hawks. I'm going to call it the roster series. I'm going to do 3 or 4 guys on the team each week. I'm going to go through every guy on the team, walk on or scholarship, freshman to senior. I'm going to break every single person down on the roster for you. Also, in the new year, and I haven't figured out all the details about this yet, but if you are a 3rd tier subscriber, every quarter, we're going to have a quarterly Walk-On Army spotlight, member spotlight. And if you are up for it, I will, in the Patreon platform, I will take those who are interested. We are going to choose 1 member each quarter, and we're going to spotlight you, and we're actually going to bring you on the podcast for 15 or so minutes, talk to you. When did you start listening? When did you become a Hawkeye fan? What was your favorite game from, all your favorite stuff, and you're going to get spotlighted. We're going to do that once a quarter. So those 2 new things are going to come to the 3rd tier in 2021. And I'm not even necessarily done with that. If we find some other cool stuff, I'm always willing to add it to the Patreon. Patreon.com/washedupwalkons. And now we get to the meat and potatoes, which I'm sure Drake wishes he
I have
had
no
on
idea how long we were
we just self-promoted Patreon and my personal business for 15 minutes, essentially.
But we gotta let the people know that, like, this episode's got to be titled like 15 minutes of blowing ourselves.
Yeah.
And then
I'll put it in the
action.
description. Yeah. I'll say in that intro when the music, when the music hits, hey, if you don't want to hear me promote my business or our Patreon, skip to 15 minutes in. But here we are. And I'm going to start with this. I have you on Snapchat because we're friends. And on your Snapchat today, I already have talked to you. We've got this feeling that it's been a day for you. You tested
positive. You want to play the video?
You tested positive with the COVID. If you'd like, you could play the video. You could show the video.
I can't. You can, though. I'm on my phone.
All right. So for those watching the YouTube, I'm going to play the video. And I won't. Is there sound to it? Is it sound available? Should I play the sound?
There's sound available, and there's no cursing. There's no words.
Okay. We're just going to watch that again here. This is Drake's computer screen or TV. And he just punches it right off his desk. And then
But look at the screen. Look at the screen. I mean, it's all
the screen is completely broken. And I'd like to know what the situation is and what's going on. Is this just the culmination of 2021 or 2020?
Tested positive for Corona. Mom's
Yeah.
at the house.
Yeah.
Obviously gonna lock myself away in my lair. So my mom has a TV in her little apartment, and I don't have one in my room. I just never have a TV in my room. And so my mom's like, you're gonna be in here for a long time. You want a TV? I'm like, okay, sure. I had this table that was just barely big enough to fit this TV, but I got it on there, balancing perfectly, whatever. I'm laying in bed watching YouTube, and this TV just falls over, crashes onto the ground, and I pick it up, and the screen's broken. And that was literally my first reaction. I just immediately felt that urge, picked up my phone, and videotaped it so that any of you guys could get a laugh. But I was explosively angry, dude. I had to work out for like over an hour, take copious amounts of vitamins, and I calmed down a little bit. But I was so hot this morning. It was like, what did I say? Pissing napalm. Like I was literally pissing napalm.
Yeah. All right. So there's that. So that's kind of a background of where Drake's at today. He's got COVID. His mom's in town. He's locked up. He's feeling all those emotions.
Locked up. They won't let me out. They won't let me out.
Merry Christmas to Drake.
Like shit right in my mouth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here's what we got on the docket for today. For everybody that just skipped to this point in the podcast, welcome in. We're going to actually talk about some Iowa stuff now. First of all, Iowa basketball. I'm not sure if you caught the game last night. At first, I wasn't going to watch because I was tired, and then I realized, okay, I'm just going to watch. It's Iowa basketball, potentially one of the best seasons ever. I'm going to watch them play. Jordan Bohannon's been struggling recently. I saw some stats that he was 7 of 30 in the last 3 games from 3, and he had 26 or so total points. Last night, J-Bo just absolutely, I mean, and shooters shoot, right? Shooters shoot, and he's a shooter. And J-Bo,
you had to know he was going to shoot himself out of it. You had to.
The teams on Iowa's schedule had to be worried because J-Bo doesn't stay down for long. And it just so happens that the Northwestern,
he's the Big Ten's career leader, right?
He's Iowa's career leader.
I think he's the Big Ten.
He's chasing the Big Ten, I believe.
Oh, chasing the Big Ten. Okay.
Unfortunately for the Wildcats of Northwestern from Evanston, Illinois, they happen to be the team that Jordan found his stroke against, and he absolutely popped off. 24 points.
7 for 11, right?
Shooting? 7 of 9 from 3 or something like that. Yeah, something like that. And incredible to see. Just fun to watch. He's just one of those guys when you can just tell, like when he's feeling it, he's feeling it. It's just like you every time a shot goes up as a fan, you're wishing it to go in. You're like you're trying to manifest that made basket. And when he shoots it and he's in his rhythm, it's almost like, oh, thanks, Jordan. You take it from here. I don't have to wish this one in.
And that's what's so disgusting about our lineup this year is that CJ Frederick shoots an unconscious percentage.
Sniper.
Like the kid is still young. He's in the worst 2 years of his Iowa career. If you look at it, right?
Yep.
Kid's going to get better every single year. So he's shooting an unconscious number from 3. Joe Wieskamp is dominant from anywhere.
He's become, he's elevated his game to the next level this year.
Because he just keeps getting bigger, right? The kid was a really lanky, young kid. And he had all the skills. He just didn't have the size. And now he keeps adding a little more size every year. He'll keep getting his man muscles a little bit every year. And he just becomes scarier and scarier. And then J-Bo, if he's hot, and don't forget, we have the number 1 player in the country. Like these guys, if they play well, which is what we saw against Gonzaga or whatever that beat us, like we had runs where if this team plays like they can, they are the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right because every year basketball is so different than football. It's weird because you could lose 10 games in the season And if you make the tournament, shit, it's 0-0. It's clean slate. Everyone's got a chance at the ship. Who was it? Did UConn win it as like a 7 seed? Like within some time around when we were in high school, I think. So you got a chance.
Are you talking about Kemba's team?
Somebody won it. That was like a 7 seed.
Kemba Walker played out east. I might be making myself sound stupid.
Maybe.
But
He might have been on the team at the time.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, even though you get that opportunity, there's a good chance that over a 6-game run to win the NCAA tournament, the better teams are going to come out on top as you advance. Not every team in the country. In fact, there might be 6 teams in the country that if they play their best basketball, they can't be beat. Iowa's one of those teams. Iowa, Gonzaga, Baylor, maybe Kansas, a couple of the other Big Ten teams potentially. If they play as good as they can and they have their perfect game, you're not going to beat Iowa because Garza is going to dominate. There's too many weapons. And that just doesn't happen every year. And that's really exciting as a fan. That's what's so exciting as part of Hawkeye Nation is we know if they just catch a little fire and they catch a little rhythm and everyone's clicking, it's going to be a real enjoyable thing to experience. And it's so exciting. The thing about Wieskamp that you're right. He's becoming a man, right? Like you go through this weird, you go through puberty in high school, but there's some compared to like, you go find that Derrick Henry picture at Alabama when Mark Ingram is like the honorary captain. Like there's some true men in college, right? And most people, us for sure, walked into college as little boys compared to what it takes to compete at a serious top level. Wieskamp was one of those guys. In basketball, the physicality doesn't matter as much, but if you can add that portion to your game, and he's done it, he's stronger, he's way more confident off the, what really sucks about this Iowa team is we don't have a guy other than Toussaint who slashes and can really take you off the bounce, right? No one's going to just, hey, clear it out. I'm going one-on-one. But if we had one guy, it's Joey Wieskamp. And he adds a nice element in there, and our team just complements each other so much, and it's really fun to watch. They did, however, drop one to Minnesota. The Big Ten is an absolute.
They didn't shoot it well.
No, they didn't.
They didn't play well. Minnesota played very good defense. Mm-hmm. They just made our guys look pretty uncomfortable, and our guys did not respond to looking uncomfortable.
What I thought about that game was Minnesota provided a blueprint on how to beat the Hawks, and it's this. You have to grind your balls off for 40 minutes on the defensive end to make Iowa shoot poorly. And then you have to hope that on the offensive end, you're shooting well and you're playing well, because the defensive effort is always going to affect the efficiency on the offensive side, right? It's partially why Iowa's not a great defensive team. We're so good offensively. We have all these weapons that are just like catch and shoot, or Garza's just dominant. Garza's are probably our hardest worker, like the guy who's going to feel the most tired at the end of a game.
Definitely. And he works himself hard
into the ground, dude. And if you do that as a guard, it starts to affect your shot. And Minnesota, they played balls out defense for 40 minutes. And they have one guy who's a top scorer in the country. That guy is insane. I forget his name, Marcus something. He's an incredible scorer, and he was on fire. And they beat us. But if you look around the Big Ten, it's an absolute grinder gauntlet. There's going to be, I think everybody has already lost. Michigan State, who was like the second highest ranked Big Ten team coming into this year, they're 0-3 in Big Ten play. And no one's even like, oh, wow, these guys, nobody's even sitting there like, oh, these guys aren't who we thought they were. They're sitting there saying, holy shit, Michigan State is an incredible team. And they still haven't won a game in the Big Ten. So what I said earlier, it's nice because we're going to be able to lose a couple games. We lost to Minnesota. Iowa basketball will lose more games this year because the Big Ten is just so good.
They're tight.
It's the best. It's potentially the best conference by the best margin of however you're deciding that in a long, long time. I think
You think this is the biggest discrepancy in conference?
I think so. I'm not even sure who the next best conference
Are
is.
Duke and NC not as dominant this year?
No, they're not.
Okay.
And
then
I don't know.
Big 12,
I don't know the depth of the Big 12. I know Baylor and Kansas are really good, but I don't know how deep they are. We've got teams. Our seventh or eighth best team is a top 25 team.
Wow.
And I think there's 7 Big 10 teams inside the top 25 right now. In fact, it actually might be 8. So your 8th best conference team is 25th in the nation. I mean, that's insanity.
That is insanity.
So it'll be fun to watch. Let's see what else I got. I got a question from basketball. We're rolling. We just came off that Northwestern win. Good to get the feet back where they're supposed to be, and I think we'll go on a little run.
Are we going to discuss Missouri being a bunch of pussies and canceling on us?
Well, today would have been the day, right? Iowa football supposed to play in the
Music City
on this Wednesday, the 30th. And that's not happening because Missouri had COVID. And people are pissed because they sent their people home for Christmas. What are we doing? Hey, Missouri. What are you doing?
They knew they were 14-point dogs. They knew that they didn't have a prayer, and they quit on us.
They didn't.
They just sent their kids home for Christmas.
Missouri's AD and coach gave them an absolute Christmas present. He said, hey, I got a gift for y'all. Iowa's going to run it down your throats, okay? You don't want to get embarrassed in Nashville. Everybody go enjoy Christmas. We're going to tell them we got COVID in a week, and we'll just cancel the fucker. That's what happened. That's what happened, because I am convinced at this point that Iowa absolutely blows them out of the water, and just irresponsible by them. It was supposedly from contact tracing in their game to end the season. So if you know that you're having COVID issues, why are we sending people home?
That seems counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Hey, guys.
Let's do the opposite of what everybody's been saying.
Hey, guys, everybody go home to your individual cities and get your families sick.
Idiots. SEC shitbags. Just a bunch of SEC scum dirt whores. That's what they are. They're filthy
scum
whores.
Dirt whores. This podcast is not safe for work, if you haven't noticed 176 episodes in. Which then begs the question, okay, Missouri, they're scum dirt whores. What do we do? Right? What do we do? And I think a lot of people, KF said, hey, we're not interested on short notice, on 3 days notice of playing a different team. And I think a lot of fans are, they don't understand the prep that goes into a game week.
I don't know if I like that, though. I don't know if I like that.
Okay.
I might be on the fence side. Hey, listen.
Okay.
If it's me, and I know if it's Kevin, if we get the opportunity to either play one more or not play one more, we're playing one more. Anybody, any place, anytime. And I still lived by that motto. You know I'm not bullshitting.
Well, you just aroused me, and so now I'm on your side. Because
anybody, any place, any time. What are we doing saying no?
I want to give a perspective to the fans on why no is even a plausible answer here. Because you're right. You, me, Kevin Drake, especially as a senior, you're like, screw it. I'll play the Vikings, dude. Bring bring Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and the Bills into Kinnick, and we'll play one last game. Because I want one more.
I'll still try and block them.
Yeah.
I'll still try and block them. Who cares?
I would have gotten a lot of work that game.
A lot.
On the punt side of things, not on the PAT field goal part. You're right. As a player, they probably want more. But as a coaching staff and just a staff in general, support staff and everything, There is so much prep. I mean, I wish you guys saw what the coaches looked like on a Sunday. I mean, they just grind their asses off. These guys don't have lives for 4 months of the year. And then even in the other 8 months of the year, they're working ungodly hours. How many days are in a week? Or how many hours are in a week? It's like 160 some.
164 or 168. It's one of those. 168, I think.
That's how many hours college Division I football coaches work. I mean, it's absolutely absurd.
There are coaches that sleep at the facilities during certain game planning periods.
Yep. And those coaches, KF always talks about to celebrate the win or, worry about the loss for 24-hour rule. After 24 hours, we flip the page. We go right onto the next opponent. That's bullshit. Those guys are right on to the next opponent. The GAs and the help staff, they're already getting the look cards for the scout team ready on Sunday. They're already watching film. They've already been watching film since the offseason. It's an entire 6.5 day process all the way up until game time for preparation, looking at film. What are they going to do here? How do we defend that? How do we go against that? What offensive schemes do we come up with to mess with their defense and their liabilities? And on 3 days' notice, you're looking at, okay, sure, we'll accept another game. Maybe in this situation, Iowa finds an opponent by Sunday night. Okay, well, no one's sleeping Sunday night because now Monday morning you have 2 days of prep. They're going to get Monday. They're going to get Tuesday. You're going to get 2 practices. And normally in a week, you get 4, which still is barely enough. Can you just go out there and run your plays and hope that it works and execute? Yes. But is it going to be as good? No. Would the team that we would have played been in the same situation? Yes. So maybe you just call it fair ball game and say, screw it. It's a COVID year. Let's go play. But I think more than anything,
I'll take our guys and our scheme over somebody else who has to actually try and scheme to win.
Yep.
We don't scheme to win that much.
You're right.
We look at tendencies and we find places where the quarterback is going to know, okay, you see this, we check to this. This beats this and this beats this and this is advantageous. That's what we're learning throughout the week.
Yeah,
we're not putting in a whole bunch of schemes.
Iowa falls back on execution, conditioning, and effort. And you don't have
a lot of times.
And you don't have to game plan that. You just go out there and you do your best.
There was literally times when we were playing certain teams, Wisconsin in particular. I don't know why they knew our verbiage so well, but they were always calling out our checks. Every time the quarterback was like, easy, green, Bama hot, they would be like, da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we know where it's going. Yep.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
I think it's this year. They've been through so much shit. The last game of the crossover week gets canceled. It's like, oh my goodness, now we get canceled again. You know what? You guys have been through enough. Everyone's been through enough. We're not switching the plans again. Screw it. Go home. Merry Christmas. It's a 6-2 season. Would have been awesome for Iowa to play Army, I think was one of the suggested teams, or one of the, I forget who else, maybe Colorado or somebody like that. Yeah.
Can you imagine a better matchup, dude? Us versus Army. 2 schools who don't give a damn what the other team thinks. They're going to do what they do.
Dude, I would sign on the dotted line for an Iowa Army yearly matchup. Put them in the non-con.
Can we get alumni to make up an 11-man squad and we just go out there and play them dirty pickup style?
You might have to
accept the game.
Yeah, you might have to put me at guard, but I mean, fuck it, baby. Let's go. So that's our thoughts there. It's a really tough situation because there's just so much stress and pressure and switching around. I understand the disappointment, but just know this. It's not coming out of KF's mouth like we're not ready, we're not prepared, we're scared kind of thing. It's more of we're just giving our guys a break. We'd like to have more prep. This year has been wonky anyway. Fuck it, we're calling it a year. That's what it is. It's not that Iowa or anybody on that staff or team is scared. So there's that. I'm curious because we're actually going to go back to B-ball real quick before we end this podcast. There's a few other things.
Dude, I got nothing to do. We can go for 2 hours.
I know, but I do have shit to do. I'm actually, because Zach is part of the team, we're actually doing our family Christmas tonight. So that's what's halting us from doing a 6-hour marathon episode and just shitting on everything and everyone. This past week, J-Bo, it actually goes back to J-Bo not performing well. People were tweeting at J-Bo, hey, fuck you. Like just the normal fan shit. I'm really curious.
Silliness.
Yeah, I'm curious your opinion on fans actually tweeting directly at players. How this coincides with now Iowa football players being able to have Twitter and respond if they want. And it got so bad that Toussaint was like got death threats, or maybe someone gave out like death threats. And obviously, are these losers who are tweeting this from just burner accounts? Are they actually going to kill someone? No, probably not. And actually, there's a funny death threat story that I'll let Keith Duncan tell when he comes on the podcast.
Oh man. Which has got to be soon, right? Where's he at?
It's going to be real soon because now we've got a whole new class of people to go after. I asked the question on the Washed Up Walkons, hey, who do you want to see us bring back on? Who do you want to see us get on that we haven't had already? A lot of people said Amir. I don't think Amir's coming on the episode because he probably doesn't want to fuck with me. And I ruined that for you guys, the fans. And if he agrees to come on the podcast, bet your ass that I'll apologize to his face for being an asshole on Twitter. I would love to talk to Amir about how, dynamic he was for the Hawks and his future in the NFL. But Keith will be coming on the podcast because if he doesn't, I'll beat his ass. And he, after the Michigan kick in 2016, he received multiple death threats from Michigan fan base. And so far as to when we went somewhere else, I think he actually got the cops involved, or we did as a team to make sure that no one was going to come like bomb Keith's hotel room or something. It was wild. I mean, the depth of kind of popularity that D1 sports brings, it's really interesting. Anyway, so Iowa basketball was experiencing some of this. Jordan was getting tweets. Toussaint was getting tweets or messages, whatever. How grimy of a human do you have to be? Like what is
Listen, you have to be one of the world's biggest shitbags, first of all.
Yeah.
And also you have to be an insane coward.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the only person who actually does that kind of thing is an enormous coward. So you just have to laugh at it because like if you look at it from a real man's perspective, a real man's never getting on his fucking cell phone on the internet.
Like get on your app,
to smash his thumbs into his phone screen yelling at some other man. Like no grown man with a good head on his shoulders and pride in himself is ever going to do that. So you're dealing with little pussy cowards and they will never see you in real life because if they did, they would get smoked. Yeah. And that's what you're dealing with over and over again with the new age internet kids, which is honestly why I got off the internet because I am a little too hot-headed to always let things go. And it was time.
And that brings me to my next question. I do think there's this chance that because the internet is so accessible and it's literally what kids these days are growing up with. Like my mom teaches 4th grade. So I'm pretty sure that's 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old, depending on when you were born. These kids have cell phones. I mean, and now everyone listening is like, oh yeah, obviously these kids are like, I have kids, they have cell phones, but it's just not, I mean, you guys know, like they have the internet in their hands by the time they're 9 years old. before that, because their parents are giving them, I mean, maybe the most annoying thing is when parents just hand off an iPad at the restaurant. Here you go. Here's YouTube, so I don't have to parent you.
You're triggering so many people. Right now.
So many people are questioning.
God.
They're like, Tyler, you don't have kids. Just wait until you have kids. Wait until I have kids. They're going to fucking hate me. And you can give them the iPad sometimes. But if you're at a family dinner, hey, put the iPad down, huh? Hey, Sparky. Hey, Junior. Get off Puppy Dog Pals. Get off Mickey Mouse's Playhouse. And let's eat your fucking fettuccine.
Oh my God, people are mad.
They're so mad. They're so mad. Hey, for those of you at the beginning of the podcast who DM'd me about the fitness thing and now you're pissed because I came after you giving your children iPads, I'm sorry. Remember, this is a comedy podcast. Hey, come on. I'm trying to make you laugh.
Chris D'Elia's voice, and Chris D'Elia messages your kids on their cell phones that they shouldn't have because they're too young. Okay.
Right.
So that's the comedy.
What I'm saying is the people tweeting at J-Bo, it could be just some 12-year-olds that are just like, you know, circa 2012 Xbox chat. I'm going to bang your mom. You suck. All this, you know, foul word here, foul word there, which our podcast probably breeds. But it could just be those.
Hey, but I will say, I think you curse more than me now.
I do curse a lot. And my in-laws don't like it. My own parents don't like it. And I got to be honest, if you've noticed, I've said frickin' a few more times than I used to. But I'm never going to change. Like, and with comedy, cussing is funny. And so it's going to come out because I do try to be funny, even the most of you probably.
And listen, man, there's an old, I don't know, I call it an adage. That's probably the wrong word, but a truism maybe, that people who swear are the most honest. Like if you got somebody who doesn't really always control the swear words that comes out of his mouth, that means they don't have a filter on what they say and they're going to give you the truth.
It's straight up for sure. Anyway, if you're an adult making these tweets or messages at the players, hey guy, stop it. You're not cool. And when you do it, it doesn't make you feel better.
Or tougher. It doesn't make you feel more manly.
And it always, and even on a low level, like the people who like to challenge, they might not be talking shit, but they'll like challenge. You know, like I got a bunch of shit for the ISM thing, and it was, a lot of it was warranted, but some of it was completely unwarranted. And I just think about the fact that if I showed up at a restaurant that you were at, and I walked in, even though you called me a dorky douche on Twitter, you would look to your friend and say, hey, I think that's Tyler Kluver. I think that's him. You would. Hey, guess what? I'm the fat, white, washed up long snapper. And if I walked into a restaurant, you would still say, hey, I think that's that Kluver kid. And guess what? I wouldn't know who the fuck you were. So think about if Jordan Bohannon walked into a restaurant. You want to talk shit to J-Bo, the all-time Iowa three-point leader? Dude, if J-Bo walked into a restaurant that I was in, I would have to go change my pants. Okay? So let's just let the kids play. All right?
How about it? We've been saying that for a while, haven't we?
Yeah. And if you're gonna bitch, then bitch, okay? But don't tag them. Don't message them. They don't need that shit. They're trying to do good on their university, on their family, trying to make something of themselves, and you're on Twitter eating sour cream and onion chips. Okay? Go get another Mountain Dew, you fuck.
Hey, listen, and if you want to talk shit, challenge them to a game of horse. Just be like, listen, J-Bo, you're shooting like 26% this year. I can beat you in horse. Yep. You know, you got to do better or I'm going to beat you in horse.
Yep.
And if you tweet that, hey, that's kind of harmless. Did you get it off your chest? Did you get what you needed to get off your chest? Okay, you did it without telling the kid you're going to kill him when you're really not.
Yeah. And also, see how that game of horse goes. you're gonna be taking your shoes off and exiting the YMCA stage left really quickly. Asshole.
Yeah, asshole. Hey, I heard something on a podcast. The next time that you see somebody in public acting like an asshole or on the internet or something, you just say, "Hey, I noticed you're an asshole," and walk away.
That's awesome. I love that. I hope people say that to
Hey.
me when they see me. Hey, saw you're an asshole, huh? Have a good one.
Hey, I noticed you're an asshole. Have a
Okay.
good day.
I did tweet. I tweeted about guests. I want you guys to contribute. Obviously, a lot of them are the same, right? You want us to get some of the Iowa legends on. Drew Tate, Ricky Stanzi, bring Pat back on, bring Josie back on. A bunch of people. We got a ton of people, and I brought up
an anger promise.
We got an Anger's coming back on. Don't worry. All right.
I completed my part of the Anger bargain, and Anger will withhold.
And believe me, I've got the list right here. I'm literally looking at it. Under Iowa legends as potential guests, we got them all. Banks, Hinkle, Tate, Stanzi, Sean Green, Gallery, Micah Hyde, Moiaki, Claiborne, McNutt, DJK. Is there going to be a DJK episode? He said he'd come on. I think that it might get more ears than anything we've ever done.
And I told him I'd be more than happy to make amends and apologize for some of the very silly jokes I've made because, listen, I'm a jokester.
You're a jokester.
And if you do something joke-worthy, putting yourself in the spotlight that's joke-worthy, and then you provoke me, I'm going to be a jokester. But like I told him before I deleted social media, that I would be more than happy to make amends and let bygones be bygones, all water under the bridge for everybody involved in this podcast, I think. And it might do a lot of good for him and the Iowa community to maybe man up for childish mistakes.
And not that we're the platform that, is his savior or anything, and not that he even wants it. But I think that'd be good content. I think that we would actually have a really good conversation. And personally, I've always been on DJK's side. I want to hear his story. It's on him if he comes on here and lies or tells the truth or divulges what he wants to. Kevin did tell him in the most brash way possible to kick rocks. So Kevin is going to have to either, he's going to have to own up to that or just not be there on that day. And he's one of the names. Jaleel, James Ferentz, James Morris, Kirksey, Hodge, Clark, Roth, Yonda, Kading, Jason Baker, Matt Kroll, Mitch King, Colin Cole, Bruce Nelson, Derek Pagel, Sean Considine, Kevin Casper, Ryan Donahue. There is a list that is a mile long. We want to get to them all. And where I think it might be going is because Drake and I have time during the week, Kevin may not make it for some of these episodes because these guys are busy. They're doing shit, all right? Greenway, for some reason, made time for us. He's trying to sell vodka and be a former Viking superstar. So it's not always just going to happen on Sunday when Kevin has time. We've got all these people, more people we played with: Cole Fisher, Drew Ott, Steve Ferentz, Kirksey, Kreider, Bethard, Coop. Got to get Coop on. He'd be funny. There's so many people. Well, we haven't even had Kevin's brother on yet. So there's so many people. And it's exciting because the types of conversations we could have. I also want to bring on John Miller, who's a Hawkeye podcast now, back on Twitter doing Hawkeye things. David Eichholt, who is a reporter for the Hawks. He's a young guy. I think he's our age. And he's been pretty good on Twitter. Still got DeMarco to come on. He's going to come on eventually. We were going to have him on literally the day that the Doyle shit broke, and obviously that didn't happen. But Max Allen, Brian Ray, Ben Hansen. At some point in this podcast, I don't care if it's 10 years from now, Chris Doyle's coming on the show. And that's going to happen.
What about the head coach?
When KF retires, he's coming on the show, and that's it.
But
not until he retires.
What if you saying that's it is not actually it? Because these guys have a say in the matters.
No, just decided. Hey, Chris. Hey, Kirk. You're coming on. Congratulations. Zach Johnson still needs to come on the show. We basically had an episode planned with him, and then we decided it just not the right time. It wasn't going to work. Kevin wasn't going to be able to do it. So, I just got my voice cracked. So a lot of people.
That really hurts that we didn't get Zach.
We're going to get him. I think Zach might be 200. We're 24 episodes out, which is about 12. In the next 3 months, we hit 200. Zach Johnson would be great 200. We also, after this season, J-Bo, Luca, Spencer Lee. So we've got a lot of people to bring on the show. We got a lot of people to talk about. We got a lot of things to talk about. I'm excited for it all. 2020 was not that good. 2021 has to be better. Right?
If 2021's not better, I'm finding a really tall building, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
We're finding that hotel that we stayed in after the Michigan State Big Ten Championship. That's it. Episode 176. So glad that you joined us. We went for almost an hour. The first 15 minutes was just us self-stroking. So thanks for getting through that. I really apologize for those that got triggered on the iPad thing, because I know I'm going to get some things like, you don't know shit about parenting. You don't know shit. Because that's gonna touch a nerve. And I'm not saying you can't ever just give your kids an iPad because I know that they're little bastards and they need something to do. But when it's all the time and you're not ever parenting, hey, be better dad. Hey, be a father. YouTube owns your kid. I'm done. I triggered too many people. I'm probably canceled at some point. How are we not canceled yet? We made it through 2020.
Man, that was one of the dude, I love when you dig yourself in holes. I freaking love it.
The podcast is so much funnier when Kevin isn't here.
Way funnier. He's so neutral and like, I wish Kevin understood comedy, but he's just in the unfunny club.
He is.
He was one of the captains of our football team.
Yeah.
And deservingly so, because he did things the right way and he made the people around him better through his leadership, which is what a captain is supposed to do. But he's Lieutenant Unfunny Shitter on this podcast. On the podcast and on social media in general. It's just not his vibe, because it's not to say that Kevin isn't fun. Because if you go to the bars with Kevin, it's a good wedding. Or a wedding. He is the guy. He is Mr. Fun in person. But the medium of podcasting or Twitter, it's just not his thing. Sorry, Kev. Because I think Kevin listens to the episodes that he isn't on. And so he's gonna hear this. And Kevin, I love you. I just don't think that comedy is your thing. And when Drake and I are going back and forth, it always seems to somehow get cut down by Mr. No Fun. You know whose kids are never going to get the iPad? Kevin's. Hey, but you know whose kids are going to be military behaved? Kevin's. And they're going to walk on to Division I football programs. They're going to earn scholarships. They're going to be captains. And then they'll probably do great. Honestly, though, are they going to have to walk on? Kevin's got some great genetics. Kevin was the runt. You're right. But he has the regressive runt gene, but like his massive Ward family gene is in there. You know what I'm saying? You know, he got the runt generation, and now his kids are going to look like Pat and Ryan. Ike. Dude, he's gonna have Ike as a son. That'd be incredible. Ike Jr. That'd be insane. Yeah. Well, 2020 was shit. 2021 coming in hot. So glad you listened. Hope everybody has a fantastic new year. Remember that when you're hungover on the 1st, send me an email. We're gonna lose some of that weight. All right. Have a happy new year from the Walkons, Drake, Kevin, and myself. Hawks by a million. We'll talk to you next time. And maybe we won't, though, because we just might have canceled the 2020 finale was the cancellation. We no longer have fans.
Please,
And
please cancel me. And make your kids eat their fettuccine, God damn it. See ya.